That was new.
Oh yeah.
I guess I do things.
Even I haven't seen that.
I do things that a lot of you fuckers don't know about.
Usually you show me before you put them live.
Yeah, you're asleep when it happened.
Oh.
Our show is brought to you by Fuel Up. Yay.
Was I?
Yeah,
You know, I
you're
don't sleep at night.
And it is Monday, first day of the week. Gosh, a lot of stuff happened over the weekend. The final episode of Sunday Night Wrestling appeared. Hope everybody that watched enjoyed. I'm not sure if we're going to bring it back. It all depends. You know, we got to find somebody that knows something about wrestling, that wants to do it, and has the energy to do it. Otherwise, I don't know if we'll do anything on Sundays because, you know, I think a good percentage of the world considers the Sabbath, even though I don't. But I'm Catholic. It's Saturday. I think it's the same thing with Judaism. Saturday is the Sabbath. So let's see who's all here. Lord Thoth. The energy is so high this morning with you guys. It's unbelievable. Lord Thoth is here. All hail, Lord Thoth. And let's see. D. Bud Martin is here. Good morning. Joe's Atmosphere is here. Good morning, Joe. And Tim is here. Good morning, Tim.
Tim, we're all just waking up.
I've been awake for a while. I was on here. I was here. In fact, you guys started talking. I didn't realize you were even here until I finally put my headset on. I'm like, oh, there are people in here.
Oh, yeah. We had fun. Talking shit about you, of course.
I don't
care. You couldn't hear.
I don't care. I'm in one of those moods today. I don't care. I don't care if people like me. I don't care.
I like you. Deal with it.
So, we watched the movie To Hell and Back over the weekend. And I think you seem to really like it, Anna.
I loved it. It's a great movie.
It is a film that I grew up on, and I've always wanted to remake it because...
to be more accurate?
Yeah, because the problem with the film is it's based on the book and based off the life of the actual star of the film, and yet they left so much... I mean, they didn't even show the incidents that got him the CMH.
They did what they could back then in 55.
I think they could have PG'd it up, but it's, you know, the problem is, you know, they could only be so brutal with the combat.
Oh, yeah, the combat scenes were very non-brutal, very tame.
Yeah, there's a lot of music, which, you know, is a big turnoff because the perfect soundtrack for war is war.
Combat doesn't need music. Yeah.
No music, just the sound. Oh, Railway Nation is here. Good morning, Railway Nation. How are you doing?
And with a breach.
I hope everybody had a good weekend. It's really weird when we have a holiday that's in the middle of the week.
Yeah.
Here in America, and we do this week. It's 4th of July is on a Tuesday. Really weird, you know. So poor Don and Scott had to go to work this morning, but they get tomorrow off. It's weird. Just I like holidays like Halloween, even though it falls on the 31st of October. It's celebrated whatever that weekend is. Thanksgiving's the same way. Even though Thanksgiving, the actual holiday, may fall on a different date, it's always celebrated on the last Thursday of the month of November. You know, but 4th of July, they're going to make the holiday on a Tuesday, federal holiday. Just make it Monday. That way you get a 3-day or 4-day weekend. Oh, it's ridiculous. I hope the traffic is like, because it's, as a former paramedic, the 4th of July was a nightmare. You know, drunk, stupid people with fireworks.
Oh, yeah, that's a bad combination.
I mean, just the dumbest people. And And then you got the drunks. You might, you think, well, I'm not going to drink this 4th of July. I'm designated driver. And so, and I don't know how many drivers have been injured permanently or killed because they were sober, but the other person was drunk. And drunk people, when they're driving, it's like they're like Jello, they'll get into a wreck and their whole body goes slack and they end up surviving the wreck. And which was so often the case, and it was really horrible. In fact, when I was a paramedic, one of the worst cases I got called on, some guys were out four-wheeling. They had a Jeep, and they were riding through part of, I forget the name of that town, south of Seattle. And there's one single canal that runs right through the middle of this. It's not even really a town. It's like there's a little township there. It's mostly countryside. And they were going over hills and stuff. Didn't realize that they were on a course heading straight for the canal. And this is winter. They were drunk, having a good time. Ended up going into the canal. And the driver managed to find his way through the back of the Wagoneer, got out, but his friend didn't. And because the water flow is so heavy in that canal, it took water rescue quite a while to find the vehicle. By the time they found him, they'd hoped we could revive him because they brought him up to us and we started paddling the shit out of him, trying to save him, oxygenating him, thumping his chest. And then I had to go deliver the bad news to this kid. I'm like, hey, you were driving and your friend who was in the passenger seat is dead. And then I also had to tell him that the police are getting ready to arrest him. And so I'd sit there with him while he got arrested. It was just a sucky night.
Yeah, that sounds bad.
Yeah, I tell people, there's a reason I quit.
You got your PTSD from being a paramedic, not from being in the military.
You think when you're gonna, I'm gonna save lives. Blah. Like I would say, close to 20% of the time, we were cleanup. Picking up and cleaning up body parts and stuff. Sometimes it wasn't even.
There's a question for Anima.
Yes, we do fireworks, but not for July 4th because Austria's national holiday is October 26th.
Yeah, they do it.
We have military parades.
They celebrate the day that they kicked Adolf Hitler.
No, that's the day when we became Austria again. Because we were swallowed by Germany.
They did kick Hitler out.
We did. And Germany let him do his shit, but yeah.
But Austria let him back in later. But we don't need to get into that today. But It is that era that we're going to be talking about today with this film. And I got to tell you, man.
And it's so cool to go back to that era after just doing Patton.
I've always loved it. I've always loved and admired Audie Murphy since I was a little boy. And I knew that he was the most decorated soldier for combat. And it's very specific wording. Beetle Smith says it at the beginning of the film. Because there are other highly decorated warriors, one of which is two are Marines. First one being, oh my God, I can't believe I forgot his name.
Chesty Puller.
Chesty Puller, thank you. And the other one, oddly, for World War II, was an actor. Oh, I forget his name too. Big, ugly guy. Great actor, great character actor. The last movie he did was about, it was based on a true story where man feeds girls to alligators.
Oh,
that sounds
nice.
Wrong. That's just wrong.
No, it wasn't Crawl. Oh, it's an old film from like the 70s,
I
maybe
thought you
even
were
the
talking.
80s.
I thought you were talking about
Eaten Alive. That was
Redemption.
the movie. Eaten Alive. And it starred Neville Brand. Now, Neville Brand was a really good actor. A lot of people didn't know. That guy was one of the most decorated Marines in World War II. Fought in combat. Lee Marvin was another actor. These were movie stars, and they were also warriors. And you just don't see that in Hollywood anymore. That's why you see such blatant disregard to the military in Hollywood. They don't care. They have nothing to commit to it. They have no knowledge. It's sort of like when you hear Hollywood people wanting to make war movies, to me, it comes off as a bunch of virgins wanting to make a porn.
Oh my God.
The only actor I can think of in the current generation of Hollywood talent that has any military experience is Adam Driver.
Yeah, Adam Driver. On TV, you have Drew Carey. He was also a Marine. These guys never served a day in their life. They never sacrificed. They never gave anything of themselves for their country. It's sad. And Driver, because his story is kind of sad itself, that he was set to deploy with his team, and he got injured, and he got medically discharged before he could go, and it broke his heart. My buddy's son is an emergency responder. He went to a motorcycle accident recently where the guy was cut in half, and his boss asked him why he didn't check for a pulse.
That's dark.
No, I've seen stupid shit like that. We love the British. They're our first cousins.
Yeah, they are bantering because
That's why France got mad at us, because once we got our liberty, they were going to war with England, and they wanted us to help. And it's like, look, man, they're our first cousins. We love England, and we tried, but the problem was we got our liberty from Britain, but we didn't have Britain's respect.
Tell them what you told me yesterday.
Well, I will, but basically what happened was the Revolutionary War is where we won our liberty. It's the War of 1812 where we kicked their ass so bad, we got their respect, King George's respect.
Even though our White House was burnt down.
Yeah, because they did not respect us at all. They paid privateers to mess with us constantly. Constantly. When I say privateers, I mean pirates.
Yeah.
And but anyway, the 4th of July is famous because that is the day that we signed the Declaration of Independence. Now, the way I've always explained it, I explained it to my kids this way. I said, the Declaration of Independence was our Dear John letter to England. And the Constitution was our formal divorce.
He cracked me up last night with that.
The Declaration of Independence is telling England we're free. And then the Constitution is explaining how we're free, how we're doing it. And so it's the legal writ. The Declaration of Independence is important, it's significant, but it's not a legal writ. But every single name that was on there was condemned to death by Great Britain. They're like, oh, we're going to kill these fuckers. Yes, we are. And what they didn't know is that we were going to break ranks and not fight the way war had been fought previously, which was by the numbers. They would march in columns, and that's how they wanted to fight war. And we were taught by American Indians how to fight guerrilla warfare, and that's how we fought.
So you get leaders like the Swamp Fox.
Yep. America
that's a
was
good one, David.
made up of a bunch of dirty fighting motherfuckers. That's our country. It's that painting, that famous painting of George Washington crossing the Delaware. It's one of my favorite memes. It says, you don't fuck with America. We'll cross the river in the middle of the night and murder you in your sleep on Christmas Eve. We've done it. George Washington was not messing around, man. Because they nearly died. A lot of people don't know that Washington himself nearly died at Valley Forge. It was bad. And if it weren't for the Oneida, one of the great American Indian tribes, they would have starved to death and frozen to death. And the Oneidas on foot walked all the way to Valley Forge from upstate, bringing corn and blankets, and saved every soldier at Valley Forge. So To Hell and Back is our movie today. And I'm going to go ahead and pull it up here. This is just such a great little film. It was in Technicolor, so it's got that really weird coloring system that they use. Not a big fan of Technicolor. But it absolutely is still a film to watch. How they pulled off some of the combat. Denver Pyle's in this, by the way. See his name right there? Denver Pyle's in this. Another actor that got his start in this film is David Jansen, best known for The Fugitive.
Yep.
So Denver Pyle was unknown and David Jansen was unknown, and they got their break in this film. And again, Audie Murphy didn't want to play himself. He'd already done 16 movies at this point. He'd already done Red Badge of Courage. You know? He was already a movie star. He was starring in B Westerns all the time. He was making good money. And it took some convincing to get him to do this. But there it is, General Walter Beetle Smith. And here he's giving you a description of the heroism that was conducted by Audie Murphy, who was fighting. He was a child fighting in war. He's just a country boy from Texas.
He did crazy shit.
Yeah, he did. And I think that rage drove him to do some of the most heroic shit that he did.
Yes, in fact, that was the reason.
He would get so
he was prone
angry,
to rage.
and he's seeing his guys dying, and he would jump up and do something.
Well, he was asked why he climbed up on that tank.
Burning tank. Well, it was a tank buster in real life.
Yeah,
the M10.
Yep.
And his answer was only, "Oh, well, they will kill my friends." So,
Morning, Alex. Mr. CCDV is here too. Audie Murphy, I was definitely not in the 3rd Infantry Division. Are you saying that?
Huh?
Oh, yes, you were the 315. Okay, yeah. I was in the 1st of the 170th when I started. That was the National Guard unit I was attached to in Virginia. 107th Infantry, part of the 29th Infantry Division. We're out of Fort Belvoir, Virginia.
Yeah. Well, Audie Murphy's home life before he went into the military, his father left at a fairly young age, and he was left to be the breadwinner.
Yeah,
he was 12. The one keeping the family. Yeah.
He was 12. He was already taking care of his siblings because his mother was very sickly.
Yeah.
And she died when he was just 16, and he was ready to raise them. If you ever read his book, it's something else to read.
He had 11 siblings.
Yeah, the movie tones down a lot of.
Yeah.
I like when he drops out of school at 12 to go work full time. He tells his mom he'll keep learning and studying. And I love how he stuck to that because he signed up for every studying opportunity when he was in the military. He kept that promise.
Yeah, it's like my grandfather, when he served in the First World War, had so many things in common because when he turned 16, they kicked him out of Boys Town at St. Charles in Chicago and left my uncle in there. And he went and got a job so he could try to get his brother out. and he ended up signing up into the military like Audie did, lying about his age. In the film, they really kind of fudge it a bit and say that he had people that signed off for him, but the fact is he lied. And that's one of the main reasons when he tried all the branches, they rejected him. He was tiny and he was a kid. They're like, get out of here. Come back when you get some hair on your chest. And the Army, I don't want to say the Army's awful in its decision making, but it absolutely took him. And look what happened. There's the good and the bad about it, because it left him effed up for the rest of his life. The combat that he saw and what happened to him, his PTSD was off the rails. And I remember one incident where he was in a very state. This is back in the 60s. He was in a state and he was walking down an alleyway firing his .45. He thought he was back in combat. And it was rough on him. And a lot of people don't know that he died young, but he died young because he died in a plane crash. He was one of those many celebrities who died in a plane crash. As I recall, I think he died in Virginia.
I just know it was a private plane.
I think it was 1970.
71.
71. I know I was a kid. I remember when it happened.
Yeah.
I remember the news.
There's a monument in the at the exact point in the plane crash. You want me to show it up?
Sure.
Was there a Kennedy flag?
There is it.
Curious.
Yep, that's the monument they put up where he died. Yep. Been there. He's I've also seen his tombstone at Arlington. I've been to Arlington so many times.
It's one of the most visited graves in the US. Murphy's.
I've considered allowing myself to be buried there. I don't know. There's so many men and women who have been killed in combat buried there. But here he is. He's playing himself. He's supposed to be 16 at this point. And he was afraid that he looked too old. And the fact is, that guy looked boyish until he was 50.
I was figuring to say he had Dick Clark disease, didn't he?
Yeah. Very young looking. Dick Clark looked like he was a young man until he had a stroke.
Yeah, he was young forever. As a matter of fact, they did a bit on Police Squad on the TV show where he went to the shoe shine guy to get some special youth cream to put it on. It was funny.
I remember that.
Hey, Glenn. Good morning.
Hey, Glenn is here. Glenn, of course, I told people already this weekend that you and I are working on that story, Operation Hound Dog, together. I thought it was fitting because the two heroes in the story are a Limey and an American. So I felt like it was fitting that it should be written by a Limey and an American. And it's going to be done in the classic Alistair MacLean kind of action adventure.
There you go.
Huge nod to one of the great masters.
Yeah.
Plus, there's a little bit of the Odessa file in it. I don't know if anybody ever even knows what that book. Does anybody here remember that book?
No. Didn't they make a movie out of it?
Yeah, it was written by Frederick Forsyth. It's a great novel. And they did. They turned it into a film, and it starred John Voight in it. And it was about escaping Yazis from Germany, Krauts, former Wehrmacht. I
remember Alistair MacLean because my dad collected 3 kinds of books. He collected the Mac Bolan series, the Executioner. He collected the Destroyer, and he collected every Alistair MacLean book. Force 10 from Navarone and all that stuff, man. Yeah.
There were very few novels in my house growing up. Almost everything in my house was a history book or a biography, which is why I predominantly still read mostly history books and biographies. It's really funny. I was just having a conversation this morning where somebody was like just telling me how they I'm a voracious reader. I like to read lots. I'm reading all the time. And I'm like, oh, that's fantastic. You know, and I'm thinking in the back of my mind, I'm thinking Dostoevsky, the classics, you know.
Right.
And they're like going, I love the Twilight series.
Oh my God.
Oh dear
I
Lord.
love the expanded universe.
Oh dear
And I'm
Lord.
just like, and my heart just sort of like breaks a little.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess that's voracious reading too. And I don't have anything against like
I mean, it's
reading novels.
It's better than
but
not
it's-
reading at all.
It's, you know, to me, that's like living off of chips.
When
and
you
not
could
eating
have, when you could have a 4-star.
I have no problem with eating chips every once in a while, but don't fucking try to sustain yourself on.
Right. Yeah.
You know, read some real books. And but anyway, Audie wrote the book to Hell and Back, and the film company wanted to make it. And in the end, though, this movie is more. It really plays loose with the historical facts, which I think was really hard on him. One, reliving some of the stuff, but also knowing like this is not exactly what happened. This is not what happened.
Yeah, but he was an actor, though. He knew that
Because they were
Hollywood had to
turning
do
it into a
certain
comedy
things.
here. This is a bit of lighthearted humor, whereas this was an important moment to him doing this. So Hollywood turns it into sort of this lighthearted stuff, and we don't even see him go into training. We see him right on a ship heading to Europe.
Yeah.
Very seasick.
And yes, he never got his sea legs. Never did. That is basically it's a squad leader band. They call him acting sergeant, but basically when you're a squad leader and you don't have the rank, they give you fake rank.
Yeah.
And I had to wear that too. I was a fucking E1 and I'm walking around with sergeant stripes on my shoulder with a band.
I would imagine they did that a lot with combat commissions, you know.
Well, with him, they show that. They show the combat commissions he gets because he's a non-commissioned officer for the first half of the film. And then he gets a field commission to officer, which he resists. They offered him to him early. There we go. Deuce and a half.
Yes.
That is a classic truck right there. Beast.
It is.
3rd Infantry Division. There we go.
Wow.
They fought right along with Patton. They followed the path with him.
Sicily.
In fact, the guy who delivers the line in the movie Patton, there goes old Blood and Guts. Yeah,
Right.
Our blood, his guts was
Right.
3rd Infantry. And my Uncle Jack served in the 3rd Infantry too. He was there for all of this.
I'm kind of surprised your logo for Military Monday, you didn't tilt the helmet just a little bit, because really when you
I don't like that.
Well, I mean,
why.
that's being Audie Murphy, right? That's what he's
Well, that was so Hollywood.
It is. But
The
you
real
know,
funny thing is
you know
that
he's
I
famous-
like that they keep in this film dealing with the helmet.
Yeah.
Is that every time they hit the ground, their fucking helmets flew off. They had to go grab them and put them back on.
But you know
And
he's
it's
famous.
true.
He's famous for having it on a lazy way, you know. Because if he had it on wrong,
Well, he always wore his hats that way in his westerns too. But part of the problem was he had a tiny head. There's a joke about hat size in this. When they go to that first club in Sicily, where they stop for a little R&R, and he yells out at his buddy, "Hey, this hat's for like someone with a 7 3/8." It's like my size. Yeah, that's such a shitty thing his buddy does to him, putting dirt down his barrel. Because at first I was thinking, oh, is he gonna like lift it to look down the barrel and get dirt in the face? But no, he just got his brother, his buddy gigged. And this guy, oh, he wants to be an American citizen. He's Polish, from Poland. serving for America, and he takes everything personal when it comes to war. And I do like the fact that he's the only one who kept his little portable stove. And everybody's like, hey, man, can I use your stove? He goes, no, you threw yours away.
Yeah, well, he's not dragging that thing around for everybody else to use it. Like, carry your own.
And this is one thing I love about foreigners who become citizens of this country. They know more about this country than a majority of American citizens.
It's sad, but it's true.
And that goes for every country.
And I blame our school system again, our socialist school system, the way it's set up.
The stuff you have to learn when you apply for citizenship,
wasn't always like
in
that.
whichever country, that is stuff that probably most of the population wouldn't be able to answer.
Yep.
It's just odd.
It wasn't always like that.
Glenn Fleming, what did you just say? Wait a minute, what? Read my books. There you go. I'm trying to get Julia to pick up one of his books at Warriors Publishing. It's going to be tricky, Glenn, because you self-publish. There are ways around it, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you in contact with her directly, so you guys can maybe figure it out. Because it would be nice to see that your book there. To quote Idiocracy, I thought your head would be bigger. So, Mr. CCDV, 15th Infantry Regiment, the Broken TV Division.
What?
I'm just a dog-faced soldier with a rifle on my shoulder. See, I was just telling Anima that's one of the nicknames for Army is Dogface.
Yep, Dogface.
Doughboys, Grunt, Dogface, Dog.
Now, the Devil Dogs are Marines, though, right?
Devil Dogs are Marines. They were called that because of the Germans, the Hun. World War I, we called the Germans the Huns, and in World War II, we called them Krauts and Jerrys. In this film, all they call them is Jerrys.
Yep. And that was new to me. In all the movies we watched, they were always referred to as Krauts.
Yeah, that's just normal to fans of World War II movies. They call them Krauts and Jerrys and everything. Yeah.
Oh, hey, Red Shirt's here. What's up, my friend?
Six is here too.
Is she?
Yes.
Missed it.
It's Independence Day weekend. Everybody's got time for you this weekend, Gary.
Well, it's good to see everybody. Good morning.
You were right earlier when you were saying it kind of sucks when it's in the middle of the week, though. My wife's in there working right now, and she's off tomorrow.
Yeah, you have to go to work and then you get your day off. It's like
right?
Weird. It's just weird.
They should just give you Monday off too.
I said that. I said just make the federal holiday whatever Monday or that follows the weekend or Friday that leads into the weekend if the fourth falls on that. Which
we know what day it's supposed to be on.
It's like Thanksgiving, for God's sakes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'd rather be a dog face. Here we go. I love that she's got I almost said staff sergeant, not staff sergeant. Oh my God, with the diamond in the middle. I just forgot what sergeant that is.
Sergeant Major?
No, it's not Major.
First sergeant?
No.
I lost the thing that I made to memorize the ranks. I can't find it.
When you get above staff sergeant, I lose it, man. So I'd have to look it up. I'd have to have the sheet.
Hold on a second. Give me a second. God, I'm just getting old and I'm forgetting shit.
I never could remember all of it, dude.
It is first sergeant. I stand corrected. You were right. First sergeant. I was thinking master sergeant, but no, it's first sergeant. So it is.
His expression is so funny when she turns around and waves her ass in his face, and he clearly has zero experience with women.
Yeah, he's got no idea what he's doing. I mean, he's barely legal.
Yeah, like I said last night when we were watching it, a lot of first times for him on this journey. He's just a kid.
Yeah. It's a famous story, though. Everybody that's been in the military knows the story of Audie Murphy, no doubt.
But everybody should know it.
And like I said, one of the things he's famous for is wearing that hat and helmet the lazy way, you know?
Yeah, and it would be frowned on by, like, in the military. If I caught somebody doing that, I'd chew them out for it.
Oh, how many times you
Wear
heard
your
a drill
helmet like
sergeant say, "Who do you think you are, Audie Murphy?" Right? Yeah.
I love the cast in this film too. Great actors playing these parts. I also really appreciated that, especially in the 1950s, that they actually had an American Indian play the American Indian character, and not find somebody Jewish or Italian to play
And
him.
they had real Germans, like people who speak German, doing the crowd parts. I always have to point that out because they don't do that anymore, and it fucks up whatever movie they make that has Germans in it. And
Yeah, they always cast
people.
English actors as Germans.
Yeah,
they're either
German you can tell
officers
they don't speak
or
the
Imperial
language.
officers in Star Wars.
Right. Did I hear you say earlier that this was an early vehicle for David Jansen?
Yes. 1955 was early in his career. The gaffers on this one did not do their job very well with the rocking of the boat. It absolutely did not look like it was in water. It looked like guys were yanking it back and forth instead of having that crazy movement. Anima noticed the different colors of the helmets and was wondering what that was about. I said, it just depends on when you got your helmet.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't always paint them exactly the same way. There were some that were standard olive drab. There was one, see the one right there in the middle, very dark, almost like a forest green with a lot more black added to it. It just, you got different colors.
It just stood out because the other movies that we've been watching, they are very uniform. So that's why it jumped out on me.
How did you like the rough landing, Johnson? Yeah, I love this, the banter. But at least they're exactly 3 yards apart. You walk 3 yards apart. Do not.
The banter is great.
Yeah,
and when you see them do soldier shit while waiting for action to happen, like fucking around with the rifle and the weird alcohol
I should say 3 meters for Anima, so she knows what I'm talking about.
Right, meters, yeah. But you do that.
Me and the rest of the world, thank you.
Happen there, in case you get
the
shot.
wrestling world that still hasn't managed to get as successful as the United States.
Oh, fuck you.
It's true.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, that always drives me nuts when they in war movies when they show them all bunched together. You know, if you were in an open space like that, you would be way far apart.
I have no idea what that third person is doing with the machine gun nest. I really don't. It's usually a 2-man team.
Yeah.
If they got a third one there, it's almost like a circle jerk. It's like, I don't know what.
It was really weird to have 3 people on that gun.
But the thing with him is he's constantly getting frustrated that the guys around him, his friends, are getting shot. And then he gets up and does something crazy. And he's like, oh, fuck it, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
But I've always wanted to, since I was a young man with aspirations of making film, I always wanted to make a remake of, or readapt his book and do it accurately.
Mm-hmm.
And show not only how heroic he was, and the men around him too, but also show why he was so traumatized by war. Yeah, because the whole chin strap thing, he gets a warning from his lieutenant. Says, by the way, Murphy, you might want to unstrap that helmet. You get hit by an artillery, it'll blow your helmet off, and if your chin strap's connected, it'll take your head with it. So, a lot of people are like, why are they walking around with it? That's why. There was a big fear of having an explosion next to you and having your head ripped off by your helmet. Did Joe say something?
I think so, but his audio is not.
I'm in the
very
other
good.
room fixing me some coffee. I said that's what he's famous for, having a trench strap undone. Yeah.
Well, you'll see everybody in the film has their helmets undone because that's what they did. And I've always been curious. I've never checked. I really think that's probably a myth. It may have happened once, like right when somebody was, because the explosion has to be at an angle to where it's close to you, and almost under the helmet to blow it upward.
Yeah, and if that's the case, if under the helmet, then you're pretty much gone anyway, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. So, yeah, that's true. Spoiler, you get shot through the hip and see how you feel when you're 50. See, Glenn said something. Let me see what this is.
Audie was
I work
shot
for a U.S.
so
company. What?
That Audie got shot so many times, and it is not in this movie.
No, it's not. I told you.
He was shot too many times. How did he get in the war? They usually send you back after some number of wounds, but
they do show him in the hospital after being shot in the hip, and his buddy asks him, "And where did it come out?" And he says, "Yeah, you know where it came out." That was fun, but yeah, they skipped a lot of stuff.
His medals have medals.
It would have been too dark. Yeah, but they couldn't go that dark back then. They needed to keep it entertaining, I guess, because the combat scenes are very tame, so they don't show.
Thank you, Tim. I was asking myself that during the whole movie, and I was very wrong, apparently, in all my guesses.
Yeah, Gary pointed that out yesterday as we were watching it. When you want to go for the look of Europe, you go to Washington.
Yeah, Washington is just, well, you could even go to parts of British Columbia and you get Europe. But by the way, Northern Europe. But I wanted to point out here, too, that, again, they show the tank scene. And I guess the reason why they left out the CMH scene is because it's so similar. Because at another battle, I'm trying to remember where it was. Oh my God. The Calmer Pocket in France. And it was in January of 45. And he single-handedly, by himself, held off an entire company of German soldiers. Mm-hmm. And he was almost out of ammunition doing it.
That is the CMH.
And that's where CMH, I just said, that's where he got the CMH.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it's like, we can't show two similar scenes, I think is what they were thinking. So they left it out because the tank scene pretty much sums up who he is.
A badass.
I could have swore it's at the end of the movie when they show it.
Yes, it is. I saw the scene and I thought that it was, because it was the same thing. He sends everybody back to the forest and radio for the artillery, and then he gets up in the tank. Of course, the duration was different because in real life he was an hour with that 50 cal, not 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. CCDB. With a fully loaded tank on fire. He was on top of that thing, spraying lead.
Shooting people with a caliber that wasn't supposed to be used against people. It was supposed to be used against armor. The Germans that he killed that day were with a 50 caliber. I love in the movie where it shows guys getting hit and then they just sort of collapse. I'm like, that's not what happened.
No.
They fell forward. they got hit in the chest with a 50 cal and they fell forward.
No, that shoulder would have been obliterated.
Yeah, well, we get the typical Hollywood deaths in this movie.
Yeah, well, you know,
with a spin and everything.
To the ground. Yeah. When in fact they would have been more similar to hamburger meat. being hit by
Yeah,
that.
pretty much. Yeah. Limbs would have been blown off by that thing.
Again, they couldn't go that dark and for the gore. They had to be very tame about showing combat scenes.
Yeah.
Well,
But what year did this movie come out?
55.
Yeah. They
thank God for
didn't
John
really
Rambo.
start getting grisly in movies until the 70s. So
Thank God for John Rambo. In the third act of that movie, we really see what a 50 cal does to people.
Yeah. And Gary's right. It's against the Geneva Convention to use that kind of
you can only use ball ammunition.
Yeah. And
to kill a human being.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
But I mean, war.
Now, look, there are rules within the Geneva Convention that are just ridiculous.
They are. They're stupid. He could have been prosecuted for a war crime there. I mean, it's
you can stab a man, you just can't slash him.
That's it. You just can't cleave him.
I'm joking. It doesn't say that. It's just I'm showing you how silly it is.
The spirit
you can
of
shoot him with this bullet, but not this one.
Yeah, this huge one. Now you can
this
drop
one is
a
made
mortar
for armor.
on him.
This one is you're allowed to kill with.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Like you'd care in the middle of combat.
Drop a shell on him and
he didn't care. He jumped up on that weapon and started loading into those guys.
Yeah.
This is a gutsy scene too. Crossing that river at night. And the guy says it in the film. I really like that. He said that because they wanted to boot him because he was so tiny and he was sickly. Mm-hmm. And they were like, maybe you should be somewhere else. And he's like, no, this is where I want to be, infantry. And he's like, look, man, the Rangers didn't want you. And we're just like the Rangers. We just don't jump out of planes.
Mm-hmm. They give him shit for getting sick after getting inoculated because he'd never had shots in his life.
He'd never been inoculated before.
Of course, his body would react. And then he got seasick because he'd never been on the ocean. And some people just never grew their seaman legs. And they're giving him shit for that. And it's nothing that he could do anything about. It's just wrong.
Is there any possibility that Steve Rogers was partially based on this guy?
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised at all if there was some association.
It's a famous story, so I'm sure that the guys that did that probably have read it.
He was a headline character in real life. His stories would come back of his heroism because they needed stories like that to keep morale up in the country because that was back when we used to do a thing called war footing, where we didn't have presidents telling us to continue shopping like nothing's happening.
Yeah.
Live your life and pretend there's no war going on.
No,
disconnects your citizenry from the men and women serving it.
Yeah, and it's just horrible. I mean, back then, anytime you went to a movie, you saw what was going on in the war before the movie. So, they would show you what they called newsreels.
I think that has very much to do with the media did with with the portrayal of Vietnam. So,
yeah,
I think the
saw
military prefer
home too. Yeah,
the military should think that it's preferable not to tell everything or anything for that matter before creating that negative view again. The media.
I will say
I think you should be honest about what's going on in the war, period.
You'll still see medics in this because in World War II, they still wore the Red Crosses. I think they even wore it at the beginning of the Korean War. And eventually, the Army did away with that shit. Said because snipers would shoot them.
They did away with it during the Vietnam War, wasn't it? Because
it was before the Vietnam War.
Was it before that? Okay.
Yeah, it was before the Vietnam War. By the time we were fighting there,
it's stupid to mark the medic like that, making him a prime target. That's how you take down morale. Kill the medic.
The only one of my uncles that got shot during Vietnam was my uncle that was a medic. He got shot 3 times. So.
Damn.
3 different occasions. I mean,
he wasn't sure how he felt about it the first time.
right. He wanted to
Let's try that again. Second time, I'm still not totally sure. Third time, yeah, I don't like it.
No, one time he got shot once, and then the second time he got shot, it took a couple of them. Never anything really, he's got a couple of scars from it. Nothing life threatening though.
Oh, Tim, you have no idea how dark this guy can get in this humor.
Dude, yeah.
That was tame for Gary.
Let me tell you something. Gary's got 2 strikes against him. First of all, he's a soldier. Secondly, he's in the medical profession, okay? I'm married to a nurse, and they have got the darkest humor there is. That's just all there is to it. It's
true.
It's a coping mechanism for them. I mean, really.
Yep.
You got to laugh about it, or you'd be crying 24/7, Right, Gary? Am I wrong about that?
Yeah, my first exposure to gallows humor was when I first got my EMT. I was an EMTI or one, and I was a new guy, and I had to go collect the head of a victim. He was still in his motorcycle helmet. It got cut off by the roof of the car. It was a T-bone where the motorcycle drove into the side of the car. His body went into the car and killed the driver. But his head went over the top of the car and rolled down the road. And finally, somebody had to go do it, and eeny, meeny, miny, mo is me. Yeah. So I start walking down there with the little black medical hefty bag, and I hear these hard-soled shoes behind me, and I turn, that slight turn. You don't turn all the way around. You just glance because, there is somebody behind me. And it's a state trooper with his Smokey the Bear.
Oh, yeah, he's got his bounty hat on.
He's walking behind me, and I could see he's putting something on, and it's his gloves. And he's putting on their issued black gloves, rubber gloves. And so he speeds up as we get closer to the helmet, and he goes, "Don't worry, buddy, I got your 6." And I'm sitting there thinking, what the fuck is your 6? I remember wondering, what the hell does that mean? And then I put it together with my back. Oh, I get it. I get it now. So we get up there, and he gets up in front of me, and he reaches down and he grabs that helmet bag. So I open the bag, and he lifts the thing up with the open side aiming straight up in the air so the head didn't just plop out. And as he's about to put it in the bag, he stops. He pauses. And I'm looking at the helmet. And then finally, I realized you always peripherally, when someone's looking at you. And I could feel his eyes look at me. And so I broke eye contact with the helmet and looked up at him. And he's looking right at me. And he goes, "At least he had his helmet on, right?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And my reaction was, I did this exactly. I went,
shit.
The fuck kind of joke is that?
So
why did I laugh?
It's a great joke. Oh.
Gallows humor, man. And he would pull that shit on me multiple times. I told Anima about the one where this car with a bunch of teenagers had pancaked on Skyline Drive out in Virginia. And they had to go down with fire rescue, rappelling down to this car, and it was flat. And they had to get the jaws of life and the cutters and to get a tin can to open it up to get the bodies out. And
we have 2 minutes.
And he's coming up the rope, climbing back up. And I reached out with one hand and plant my foot to pull him up. But right when I grabbed his hand, he makes eye contact with me again. He goes, "Hey, good news. They all had their seatbelts on."
Yeah.
Guy was so dark.
Mm-hmm.
Man. All right, let's give this movie a pause. This is when they go to Palermo. This is when Patton took it, right? And beat what's his name? Montgomery.
Monty.
Yeah.
I think so.
So we'll pause here because this is where Audie meets a girl.
Yes.
Back in 2 and 2.
Yeah.
Chuck Woolery time.
Yeah, he met a girl.
And it's so awkward. These scenes are so wooden and awkward, but yeah.
Exactly. So we'll be right back after this message. Hi guys, this is Gary from Pop Culture Minefield here on KGRA, and we're leaving for our first break. I hope we survive. Oh wow, we survived. Welcome back to the commercial break. Now for some more Pop Culture Minefield on KGRA. So we're back from that long commercial, yeah. Let's see. So yeah, they're looking like a bunch of cadets. I thought that he was an American Indian, but apparently, because he was born and raised in Arizona, but he is actually Hispanic, playing an American Indian.
You don't want to know the nickname of that cap they're wearing.
That's why he sounds so much like.
No, I've talked about it on the show because my mother was an idiot and a functional idiot. She really was. And we're sitting around, the whole family sitting there, we're talking about military hats. And she goes, you know what my favorite hat was? I love that one they called it cunt cap. And I'm like, my brother Steve and I are like, Mom,
come on.
There are kids here. She goes, what? You know, she was such an idiot. She was told multiple times, it's called a Grand Prix, not a Grand Prix. And she just constantly called it Grand Prix.
Yeah, that's Americans mispronouncing French words. You say can and it's can.
It doesn't matter.
The whole world mispronounced French because French is.
It's a fucked up language, I'll admit to that.
It is.
It is. It's just ridiculous.
You can at least try.
And they went a direction with it that, as Steve Martin said this, he says, you're not speaking French correctly unless you sound like you're choking to death.
Yeah.
They got their ditty bags like that. Ditty bags.
Little Texas.
Could be Little Texas.
I love that you call him that, Little Texas.
But he's just not. He's not like the guys, you know. And but it's so funny because then they show one of his best friends going home with a hooker, and he doesn't want to do anything with her. He just wants her to listen to him.
Yeah, and he chose an Italian hooker because she wouldn't understand a word, and she really doesn't. She has no idea what he's talking about, and he just wants to talk about his real girlfriend because he can't with his buddies.
Yeah, he doesn't want them to know about it. But this is great because Army Air Corps is in there. These are all pilots and shit like that.
Oh, that is so much fun.
The Army Air Corps.
These are ground crews or pilots, depending on their rank, you can tell. But yeah, these are all ground crew guys or gunners and shit like that. So the infantry wants to fight them. So they start singing a song to mock them. Yep. And this is great. The fight begins. And the owner of the bar goes running out to get the police, the MPs. And MPs come. I like this moment. This is pure comedy. This is done.
It is
for fun, you know. And gets the MPs, and it's like, hey, we weren't fighting. We were just hanging out, and some trouble started. We all went for the door at the same time and got tangled up.
Yeah, and the MPs are who started it, and they all point to the owner. And
they point to the owner, and he goes, "Yeah, I started it. I started it."
And then they call drinks on the house, and he's like, "What the fuck?" That poor guy.
Yeah, that's funny. Drinks on the house. That doesn't mean that he's paying for him. That means the house is paying for him.
And you guys don't like us MPs. I swear. We all got free
military
drinks.
pricks. That's what we called them. My brother was an MP, so Michael, my late brother.
I know. I know. Yep.
I told you he got court-martialed for breaking his ankle off duty.
No, I did not. What was he doing?
Playing basketball.
Playing basketball.
Well, he told them that it was being run over by a tractor because of the family.
Oh,
in order to keep from getting in trouble, but it didn't work. He damaged military property, and so they sued him. Yeah. He's like, she's looking at Audie, and his friend goes, no. He doesn't know how to handle a woman like you. And so he spares him, and then he just kind of like gets up and leaves.
He doesn't know how to handle women.
The chocolate bar, because he tried to give the kid a chocolate bar. So he thinks, well, I'll let you shine my boot a little bit and give you the chocolate bar. And the boy's sister or mother, I'm assuming sister because she's young.
Yes.
Oh, she's a sister, yes.
And she's like, Vincenzo, no, you're not getting chocolate from he don't do work for you. But then she gets all sweet and goes, but I'll tell you what, you can give him the chocolate if you come have dinner with us. Now, the one big difference is, and it got started by airborne in the military with your cunt cap. You would put whatever division you're in on it later, would go right up there where that fold is.
Right. Your insignia goes right there. Yep.
Depending on where you are. But they eventually changed that because now beret, for some reason, is part of the uniform, which I don't like.
I don't like it either.
I've never liked it. It started when I was in. And I hated wearing my beret. And if I could wear something else, I would wear it. I did not like wearing a beret.
Berets, when I was
I didn't feel like I earned that.
Forces and Rangers. They were
That's
the
right.
only for me. Yeah. That's supposed to be a mark of distinction, that beret.
Yeah, it used to be Army Air Corps, and the medics they used were just regular Army medics.
Hey, deleted scene is in the house.
Hey, Stephen, how you doing, my brother?
You see the old schoolers got the cunt cap on, and
there you go.
The new schoolers got the beret on, right? Yeah, that's my stepson David. So.
Yeah, what I hated about the beret was that I felt like we didn't deserve wearing that. I hated the fact that somebody in the military made that decision that clearly wasn't special forces.
Right.
And it's like
you might call them a wannabe.
I suspect that they're the kind of person that likes to make sure everybody gets an award,
right?
Or a statue,
participation award, right?
Everybody should get an award.
Everybody should get.
Everybody wears a beret. No one's special. Special forces aren't special. I need people like that. Fuck them.
Nah, don't think so. The only time I wore a beret was on drill team in high school. That was it. Yeah.
At least you didn't say in my mime days.
No, I wore it with pride on my drill team because we were badasses. So we were the best of the best of our high school ROTC unit. So
Yeah, and of course, by the way, the actual name of I did say it a moment ago is the garrison cap.
Yeah, garrison cap, no doubt.
Garrison cap is what my mother so happily called cunt cap in front of my family.
This chick, she's collecting boots.
Oh yeah, special ed forces. That's right.
That's it. More coffee.
And there's Chivas with a breach.
Yeah, our unit got the ribbon for the Gulf War, but I'll never wear it. I don't feel I deserved it.
Why not?
Anything. I didn't do anything. It always bugged me.
Well, if you ever put your uniform on again, I hope you'll wear it because you're supposed to wear everything that's on your DD-214.
I will. I have an expert grenade badge. I still have it. I've had it.
You should be proud
it's
of
one
that.
of the only things that survived the military with me. I've always kept it with me.
You should be extremely proud of that, pal.
Oh, I am. I got that because the guy in charge of the lane, the sergeant, told me that if I could get my grenade inside that deuce and a half in that one split second I had, where you get to aim, he passed me for the day. He says, "You fuck off, do whatever you want. You'll be passed from my lane. Go do whatever you want." And I'm like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Because our sergeants were off doing something else. They leave us at those lanes.
Yeah.
So I squatted down. It was because the one dude told him I played pro ball. And I said, I played farm league. I got a $200 check a month for playing baseball.
Right.
And I only played for one season.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, yeah, if I can see something, I can hit it.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, okay, well, you can get it, this grenade in that window. I'll pass you. So I squatted down, and he gives out the commands, pull pin, extend arm, stand, release, drop, and that's all it was. It was that fast. And I wanted to ask, did I hit it? And all of a sudden I hear everybody go, oh, somebody goes, shit. Somebody yelled, fuck, all at once. And I jumped up and I went, did I do it? And Sergeant turned to me and he says, here you go. Get the fuck out of here. And I'm like, I got it in the window. And Martinez
Not
turned
just
to me and
that.
says, Martinez goes, you took the dummy's head off, man. And I said, of course I did. And I walked away. Thinking,
Lucky bastard.
I'm like, I fucking took its head off. I could never do that again if I tried.
No, that only
I had
happens
no time
once.
to aim.
Lucky shit like that happens only once.
Yeah, you should be extremely proud of that, buddy, because, yeah, it's hard
My
to
daughter, she
grenade.
goes, what did you do during the war? I said, a bunch of silly shit. I'm one of those guys with funny stories. I don't have any war stories, baby. Sorry.
Yeah.
Man, Jeebus is trying.
No, I'm serious. He's working for it, and I'm not going to give it to him yet. I think he needs to work a little harder.
Yeah, you can do better, Jeebus.
Now, some of my problems with some of the battle scenes like this are the partial buildings are clearly constructed partial buildings. They're not buildings that were built and then torn apart. You can tell the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Like that building to the right there, clearly not a real building that got blown apart. It's just they built the broken part. It's one of my problems with old films is I can always spot when they do that. It's sort of also like I can always tell when they shoot on the fake New York streets.
Oh, yeah. That's
at
pretty
Warner,
obvious.
Fox. All of them had a version of those streets. Fox, all of them.
Yeah.
Warner's the best known because that's where Bogart was.
Right. It's amazing to find out, after Katrina, a lot of movie production moved up here. And like the one I always tell people about is Battle Los Angeles. Because David was driving around downtown and he's a Iraq War veteran, thought he was having flashbacks because they were setting off pyro down there, But yeah, the city scenes in Battle Los Angeles were filmed in downtown Shreveport,
See, that building doesn't even look like it was actually ever really a building.
Yep.
And it's a problem I have with movies when they do that. And there should be more buildings.
Yeah.
But this is still, this is an important scene. Again, Audie Murphy thinking outside the box in order to get them to move forward so they don't get hunkered down and stuck. And of course, he's, I can't remember who says it, but it's like, I've never heard anybody in the infantry wanting rain. And Audie keeps going, man, we need some more rain.
Right? Looks like they put a building right in the middle of a field.
Yeah, it's just it's really weird the way they constructed some of this stuff.
And I understand that they needed for take the shot of the faces of the actors, but man, everybody's sticking their head like a giraffe in this.
There's Jansen.
Yeah, there he is. Is he a butter bar?
Yes, he's a butter
Wow.
bar.
A what?
You have two lieutenants. You have second and first lieutenant. He's a second lieutenant.
That's the lowest officer.
Why is that called Butterbar, though?
Because it's gold.
Because
It
it's
looks
gold.
like a-
Yellow.
Look at it. Looks like a stick of butter.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
They are the single most salute-hungry motherfuckers you will ever meet on this planet, second lieutenants. And I have two things I would do. Like if I knew they were Reserve or National Guard, I'd give them left-handed salutes.
Yeah.
And you can always tell because their lapels and their hats look like shit.
Mm-hmm.
Full army took time to fucking dress right.
Yeah.
They would take care of the uniforms. Reservists and National Guard officers just lazy as fuck. And that's why I never got caught.
And now, to be clear, this is back when he and I were in. It's much different now. They're an active military component now.
Well, they treat it more. They were treating it that way when I was in, because, this is where another one of his buddy gets fucking nailed.
Exactly.
Sergeant Wilhelm. Yeah. Wilhelm scream.
But
This movie, I would like to go back and do a fan edit of this film and add tracers in it.
Right. That'd be cool.
So you would understand what's so horrifying.
Yeah.
That those bullets are zipping around you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dr. Richard Kimball, the Warriors.
That's it.
Deleted. I like Battle of Los Angeles too.
No, I like that film.
Yeah.
My favorite moment in that film is the pool scene.
Yes.
The whole laundry room scene too. That accompanied
It's not my favorite, but it's a real.
Oh, I delight in that fucking scene. It's like, what's the rule if you can't get to the enemy, Anima? What do you do? It's your favorite thing from my book. You go.
Oh, grenade bowling.
Bowling.
Yeah.
Go grenade bowling.
Grenade bowling.
Grenade bowling. That's it.
Now the I can't remember the Mark IV. I think they had. Let me go look. Frag grenade World War II.
Oh, by the way,
Mark II. It's the Mark II, and they smoked.
Yeah, I was.
Pulled the pin.
I wanted to ask you.
Also, here, I want to point out that Audie Murphy did what he actually did when he fired. He strafed. He was a strafer.
Yeah.
He would always fire either right to left or left to right, depending on what direction he was aimed. And so he strafed that door. And what happens here, I'm going to tell you, in one of these houses in this battle, my Uncle Jack watched a guy go to break down a door in one of the farmhouses. And he used the butt of his M1 carbine. And when he did it, it went off and blew his brains out.
Wow. Wow. Muzzle discipline, damn it. What the fuck? Ugh.
It's like, use your boot. Don't use your weapon.
I mean, come on. That's just your time's up. There's no way to get out of it.
Oh, I like this scene where they frag him, tosses him the frag, and then he turns that corner and there's that mirror and sees his own reflection. He threatens him. I will kill any man who tells this story.
Right?
That was funny, yeah. The other thing I like is he doesn't want to be promoted, but he gets promoted all the time.
None of them do.
He does great things, and then he takes revenge and suggests two of his friends for promotion. And they're like, oh, damn it.
Yeah, anytime he gets promoted, he punches his friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, this sucks right here. The Polish kid.
Yeah.
His goddamn stove gets stuck on the fucking wire. Because it's scary. Even during training, man. My canteen got snagged on, because I'm bigger than everybody else. My canteen got snagged when I was going under the concertina wire. And the guy behind me goes, move. I said, well, help me move. Get my canteen loose. And he did. Dumb fucker. Before you bitch about somebody getting stuck, how about you see why they're stuck? Fucking be part of the solution, not part of the problem.
There's no fun in that.
That would require some thinking, though, and common sense. That's not.
And
very
once again, this is why I was a squad leader, and I got getting stuck as a squad leader. This is the weird moment right there. Look at that; it's distorted. image of him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's so off-putting. Every time I watch this movie, it's like, why has nobody ever fixed this?
Right? All you'd have to do is a little editing, creative editing,
Yes.
and boom, done.
And it cuts away from him normal, cuts back to when it's distorted again. It's like, God damn,
Yeah,
man.
it happens twice, and it's so weird.
It's like the background in The Longest Day with the Germans. And
I mean, did they not learn how to use skew and paint? What the hell, man? Come on.
You just got
Stephen has a
gigged, mister,
question
for that
here.
joke. That joke just cost you. Drop, beat your face.
Here's a question by Stephen for you, Gary.
Pop Culture Minefield, if they are remade to hell and back, if they ever remade to hell and back, who should direct and who should portray Murphy? I want to produce it. I'll tell you that. And I want to help. I want to help write it.
Tom Holland should play Audie Murphy.
Holland is really the right look.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
and the director should be Steve.
But I wouldn't do it
Soderbergh.
because he's not fucking American.
That's a problem.
I would
He
pick
be
an
the right
American actor to
babyface.
play Audie Murphy. I would think it'd be insulting to pick somebody of another nationality. Okay, there you go. That's the M41 Bulldog dressed as German Panzer tank tiger. I love that. At least they got Shermans for this movie, unlike Patton.
We had Pattons.
Oh, this is where the dude walks in. Hey, I found a stove. We can make some coffee. Pisses off Chavez.
And the chief almost lost it because he was the best friend of the Polish.
There it is. Hey, wait a minute, man. What's your problem?
1955 Technicolor. You gotta love it.
Yeah, not a fan of Technicolor.
Yeah.
It's what they did back then.
And Technicolor was still kind of used all the way up through the 60s. Mm-hmm. And that's why there are some films from the 60s that look like they could have been made today. But then there are films from the 60s that have that distinct older Hollywood look. Mm-hmm. By God, he looks like a kid.
He was like 30
Oh
when
my
he did
God,
this
he
movie.
was.
Yeah, he's middle-aged when he made
Elliot Page for Audie Murphy.
Oh, man.
Is she American? I thought she was Canadian.
No, she's
Canadian. He is Canadian.
Yeah,
the person is Canadian.
But good suggestion.
The person, the person is Canadian.
For you,
is Canadian.
For that joke, I'm going to go ahead and give you your back door. Here you go.
Cowboy, check around and see if there's a back door.
Don Rickles. Love it.
I watched a documentary that got me so emotional, and it's by the children of Richard Harris. It's his. It's a biography. It's just called Richard Harris.
Really?
It's just a beautiful love song to their dad.
I think it's on Netflix, right?
Even the ugly side.
Is it on Netflix?
I think.
Oh, that's not where I watch things. You know that.
Okay.
I know.
I didn't know that, but now I do.
I've told you multiple times.
Everybody knows that, Joe. Everybody knows
the
that.
The only one I pay for is Prime. That is it.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Because when a friend gets it, well, it's rough on you. And this is something that's true about infantry units, combat units, period, especially from World War II. Because the life expectancy, because you were in until it was over. You were supposed to get so many points, and it was tough to get those points to get the fuck out. So as new guys came in, the guys that had been there tended to not want to get friendly with them. Because you didn't want to get to like somebody because you knew there were odds are they were going to die.
They say something like that in Band of Brothers, but I think I like more the way they say it here. When he says, the guys you start with, you stuck with, but you don't make any new friends.
And it's sort of like the same thing. The first time I ever remember that being mentioned was, even though I'd seen this movie, I don't remember that. I remember it from Big Red 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's Bobby DeChico who says it. in that movie with Lee Marvin, Mark Hamill. Luke Skywalker was in it. Look, the grenade launcher, I showed Anima how those things work. They're really fucking cool.
They are.
But this is because we went into this war, and this is true. You fight with what you go in with. And it's during combat they realized we need an RPG. We really need an RPG. So they created that one during World War II. And it fit on the end. You put an adapter on the end of your rifle. Springfield had it. M1 had it. And there was one that fit the M1 carbine. And I think they were the three that had it. And each adapter was different. Each grenade was different. And you had an attachment because your weapon was specifically modified for those grenade launchers. And it had a part where you can attach the level and you could fire your grenade launcher shoulder, or you can plant it on the ground and fire it like a mortar. And when you did, you would put how far you wanted to go, and there was a level on there, and you would turn it, and then you would make that level. Once that line was level, that's the distance it's going to go. It was really simple. It was idiot-proof. And it fired a hot load blank. That means it's not your standard blank. It is loaded all the way to the tip with gunpowder and high-end gunpowder. And that way it had enough to project the grenade. And those suckers really did some damage. There was one that was designed specifically for armor. There was also one specifically designed to shred people. It was a fragmentary. And do they show that in this film? I can't remember if they show it in this film. I know I showed you. I don't think they show what it does to armor.
I don't think so, no.
There was a joke about it with in Patton with the half tracks. Look at that. That is clearly a bulldog with the back sticking out the way it did. Because the German tanks were straight up, slightly slanted on their turrets.
By the way, the name of that documentary is The Ghost of Richard Harris.
That's it, The Ghost of Richard Harris.
And
it's beautiful.
It is available on BritBox, boys and girls.
It's a beautiful, beautiful film. I find myself weeping at a couple of points.
Seen through the eyes of his three sons. Yep.
And they're all three in there. All three of them. It's really good.
Any of them look like him, or they all look like their mothers?
Well, his son, who's the movie star. He was in Sherlock Holmes, the second movie with Robert Downey Jr. He was Moriarty. Yeah, he looks like his dad. He's got scars, pox scars. But when he's talking, he does the duck lips like his father when he's talking. Yep. Mm-hmm. Sounds like him too. It's really bizarre.
But yeah, it's on BritBox. So yeah, us in the States would have to find a way to watch it. I'll say. Yes.
Ours 0500. Army says 0.
That's right.
Marines and Navy say O. Air Force also says 0 because they are from the Army.
0 Dark 30, right? It's so funny when I write things in military time.
And by the way, that's why I didn't like that as the name for the Bin Laden film.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't like that because Navy SEALs don't use that.
Yeah. It's all dark 30. But every time I write things in military time, it just throws civilians off. They can't read it. How hard is it to subtract 12 from the hours?
Don't speak for all civilians.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Every time I do it, it throws them off.
And by the way, on the with the tanks, as with jeeps, armed jeeps, Patton was responsible for the addition of a 50 caliber, the Modus, for a guy because they had a 30 mount in front of the captain's port. Yeah. But then I love that matte painting. It doesn't look like a matte painting at all.
No.
Like the bridge earlier. Didn't look like a matte painting at all.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hey, Chief.
They were bored.
when I was in, it was the M60 we had mounted on our Jeeps. But yeah, every time I think of a Jeep with a 50 cal on it, I think of Rat Patrol. Every time.
Yeah, I told you
Yes.
about Don's story that they mounted 2 Meduses on a helicopter, and it shook it so bad it actually made it hard to fly when they were firing.
I would imagine. Yeah. What movie is it I saw that in? Because it did look like it was
I don't know. I just know that Don told me about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's crazy. Why would you mount that? Those are beasts.
Mm-hmm. I want to say it was Apocalypse Now, that famous beach scene. I think there's a helicopter that's screaming 2 of those things in it. I'm not sure. But
we're gonna. That's on the list of films to watch. I have Apocalypse Now redo or Redux.
Redo. Yeah.
Again, not knowing that the X is silent.
Right.
It's like we grew up saying Xavier because of the X-Men. But his name is actually Javier.
Javier. Yeah. Or Xavier. Sometimes it's a Z. It sounds like a Z. The X.
I have a French friend from Paris. His name is Javier Delanobre. He's Spanish, but he's from France.
Wow.
It's like I remember one time we were talking. He told me that. Yes, the maintenance is coming here to fix the pipes. And I said, in your apartment? He goes, well, we don't live in apartments. We own where we live, but we still have maintenance. And I'm like, that is really weird. You have maintenance for a place you live in. They're apartments, but you own it. And he told me that the place he lived in was over 300 years old. And I said, when were the fucking pipes put into this place? It's ridiculous. We take advantage of that here in America because there's nothing really much older than 300 years in this country.
No.
It's like you have houses over there that are 500, 600 years old. People still living in them.
300 is not old for European standards.
Yeah.
No.
But I think that's why they're so ungrateful about everything.
They think my house is old, and it's old base housing. Old base housing in the late 1950s, early 60s. You know, they think this place is old.
The foundations of the city where I spent the last 5 years split were the palace for a Roman emperor built in 300 BC. That is old.
Now that's the M1 carbine. It's a nice little weapon. Yes. I had one of those as a kid. The one I got, my dad let me modify it, and I put a paratrooper stock on it. It was really nice. It had the folding stock. Oh, I liked that thing. It was
single shot. Yeah.
Nice weapon. You can turn it full automatic if you had an FFL license. Because the one Audie has, you can fire it semi-automatic or automatic. Full automatic, I should say.
I did not know you could fire those full automatic. Wow.
Yeah.
You go through a clip in no time flat. Good Lord.
Yeah, they're small rounds. It's basically the precursor to the M16. Mm-hmm. And I really do like this scene. But you see the frustration he had with his friend throughout the film. Like, you keep putting yourself in danger. I wish you would stop it.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to keep up with me. I'm tiny. I'm a harder target. But this is where he gets nailed doing what I just said. It makes him so fucking angry. Again, Audie did every heroic thing he ever did because he was raging because he couldn't stand seeing his friends die.
Yep.
And he told him to stay down. He gave him an order, and he went against the order.
I told you, yells at him.
Yeah.
I told you I'd do it, but you didn't listen to me, or you didn't believe me.
His frustration.
I'm sorry, that's a quote from another movie.
Scarface. Scarface.
And
That's in Scarface. I told you, you stupid fuck. Well,
my line that I just said is from the movie The Big Country with Gregory Peck.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
And the great, he was the singer from Frosty the Snowman, Burl Ives. Burl Ives got an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor in that film. And Chuck Connors is his son, and he's a coward. And he starts to shoot Gregory Peck in the back. His own son, he turns and he shoots his own son. And he warned him. He says, "One day, boy, I'm afraid I'm going to have to murder you."
Right?
Man,
You know? And he does it, and he says the line, "I told you I'd do it, but you didn't believe me." And then that line is used in another thing. Martin, you should know what this is. It's the Happy, Happy, Joy, Joy song.
What?
That line is in that song.
What is the line?
I told you I'd do it, but you didn't believe me.
Oh shit!
You're talking about Ren and Stimpy, man?
Yeah, that line is in there. And the guy singing it is made to look in the animation like Burl Ives. I thought that was funny.
Did you see how he took that MG42 and hip shoot that shit? Oh my God.
That's like Rambo shit right there.
Yeah.
Although it is a lighter machine gun, it is. The MG42 is a hell of a weapon. And the only mistake they made in Saving Private Ryan is where they show it firing constantly, and you can't. It would heat up so badly.
Yeah,
so they had to fire them in bursts and let it cool, and then burst and then cool. But it was dramatic. I know why they were doing it. It's for dramatic reasons.
By the way, I think that the helicopter I'm thinking of was in Rambo Part 2, that over-the-top thing. I think that's the one that had the 50 cals on it.
It's my least favorite of the
I know,
Rambo
it's
films.
over-the-top and silly, man. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
With good old Charles Napier as the bad guy.
Yes.
You find out he never was gonna save him. He was there to play cover your ass.
Yep.
And that was the standard thing, by the way, planting the person's weapon with them with their helmet on it. We still do it to this day.
Yep.
They're planning his next promotion.
Yeah.
Right.
And this is when he gets right back at them because he suggests them for promotion too. And when he gets his promotion, his buddies are like, ha ha. And next day are promoted. And they're like, oh, damn it. That was.
Next day, the same. Instantly, he says, what are you laughing at, Corporal and Sergeant?
Yeah.
The guy's, what?
Looked like he's a staff sergeant at this point, right?
Oh, see, now Mr. CCDV knows what I was talking about. Didn't you believe me? What I hate in this country, it's something that upsets me to this day, is how little people seem to care about taking care of older buildings. You see farms and farmhouses in disrepair, barns. It really upsets me. I like it when people restore and take care of them. In downtown Champaign-Urbana, when I was at the University of Illinois, they tore down a building that was almost 200 years old.
Oh, man.
Put up a new bookstore.
You would think the historical society of that town would have something to say
Nope.
about it.
Not a goddamn thing.
Wow. Hey, a lot of buildings here in Louisiana are they pass laws to make, if you buy them, you have to keep them in the same you have to keep them in repair in the same style they were in when they were built. In other words, there's certain construction you can't do to them. They'll make them state monuments and we do that a lot here. A lot of the quarter, they'll never change the buildings in the French Quarter in New Orleans. They'll never change them, And we've got just about every major city in Louisiana's got stuff like that. Plantation houses, things like that. But yeah, that sucks, Gary.
There we go. That's where he gave the promotion.
Yeah.
What are you laughing about?
What are you laughing at, Corporal?
And his face falls. That was great.
Now, during the Second World War, you'll see the German uniform has that canister that they have on the backside, and you see the Germans carrying it in this. By this point in the war, the Germans weren't using it for what it was originally made for. It was made for their gas mask because they thought that we might be using gas against them. And oddly, even the Nazis didn't use gas. After First World War, I think everybody had their fill of what gas did to life.
Right.
Yeah.
I had to guard that stuff for a year out on Johnson Island, all of our old
stockpiles. Yeah. But anyway, that canister ended up being used later. They would repurpose it. They'd still have it, You'll see him wearing them in this movie. But the canister has other stuff like food and things like that. Socks. Yeah. It uses just an extra case to carry personal shit. And they would just pile up on those damn tanks.
Why not ride when you can walk? Or why not
Right?
walk when you can
Why
ride?
not ride when you keep yourself from walking? Yeah, as
Yep.
soon as I got off the plane on Johnson Island, they handed me a gas mask. Don't be anywhere without it. I was like, wow. Old blister agents, nerve agents, mustard gas, all that stuff. They had all of it there. It's all gone now. They built a big furnace. They started building it the year I left there in 1986, the winter of 86. They called it the JCAD system, but it was a big furnace, basically. They were going to burn it all up in, and they mopped up there, I think, in 97. Destroyed all the buildings. You can't even land a plane out there now. It's just a big overgrown piece of coral.
We got some people joining us. Let's see who is.
Yes, Ariel Ballet.
Ariel Ballet not added to our list yet.
That's someone new.
Yeah, I've never seen that name before. Greetings. Welcome to the
Welcome
show.
to
yeah,
ADD Theater.
Yeah, she's been hanging out on my channel quite a bit. She's great. How you doing, Ariel?
Great to
Good
have you.
morning to you. I told you, Gary, I pump your shows every time I'm on.
Yeah, but I always took that meant that you were fucking it.
No, I'm not. Shows.
I pumped the shit out of it.
I pumped the shit out of it, man. But Ariel's great. Yeah. Good to see you, girl. Yeah, she first started watching me. I have a show I do on Tuesday and Wednesday nights called Papa Joe Gamer After Dark, where I have a few cocktails and play video games and screw them up. She's been watching me play Knights of the Old, or no, yeah, it's called Knights of the Old Republic on Xbox. I've never played it before. Came out in 2003. Yeah, there she is. Yeah.
So that's awesome. All right, so here we go. This is the battle with the scene. And like we were talking about earlier, what he was on was the M10 tank buster. But they didn't have one for the movie. So they just show it as a Sherman tank. But in reality, it was a tank buster. It was specifically designed to be anti-panzer. It used high explosive rounds that were designed to penetrate the armor and shatter the inside armor, causing it to ricochet inside the tank and kill everybody.
Yeah, that line from the other movie, it would pierce the armor and then rattle around inside.
Yep. So this is that scene. Now, as I recall, though, historically, I don't think he was given his field commission until after this. But I'll have to go double check. But it leads to a line that he actually said in real life when they ask him, how close are they? And he calls back. He says, hold the phone. I'll go get it for you to talk to them.
I love that they included that in the movie. Just shows you how badass he was.
And he just starts calling, he's giving him directions for the fire mission. He was 200 to your left, 200 to the right, and all that stuff. And it's just really fucking cool. Calling out the coordinates.
Yeah, correctly calling out coordinates for fire missions. Very cool.
Which we refer to as grid coordinates.
Yep.
Which
something that wasn't taught to the Air Force until the war in the Second Gulf War. And finally, the Air Force was on the ground. And they had to learn how to do that. They had to learn how to shoot a back azimuth. Most people don't even know what a back azimuth is.
No, Ariel, they're not Patton tanks.
No, these are M41 Bulldogs. This was the predecessor to the Patton tank. The Patton tank came out, I think, within 2 years of this. The first one, the M47, then the M48, and then the M60. All three were called Pattons. Keep firing for effect.
Danger close.
It's danger close. That's what it is. How close are they? Hold the phone. I'll let you talk to them.
Great fucking line.
And he did. He got burned from the flames on the actual tank buster. And of course, once again, thank Patton for that mounted Ma Deuce on the back of that turret.
Patton sure like those babies. He mounted on jeeps. He mounted on everything he could see.
He was a mounting motherfucker.
Oh,
yeah, I love the
my.
way these guys die from 50 cals. Just gently falling to the ground.
That was just stupid.
Not
Hollywood,
exploding.
yes. Very dramatic Hollywood deaths there, with all the screaming and falling down.
There were some good shots in the film where guys just fell back. I like that.
Yeah,
really, but a lot of them are the overly done Hollywood fall, just grabbing, clutching. It's like that didn't happen.
And spinning before the fall.
Yes, that's my favorite when they spin. That's not how the body works.
Should I be calling you Daddy Joe? Medic. Okay. He got shot in the ass.
Yep.
It's something he kept telling him
But no,
that happened to him.
Where
did it come out?
That's where it came out. He got shot in the
He got hit in the pelvis, but where did it come out?
What do they call that wound when you get shot in the ass, like $1 million bullet or something?
Yeah,
like
the
that?
$1 million wound. You're going home, motherfucker.
Yep.
I love the nurse threatening him with a shot.
Yeah. He's leaving quickly when he sees that syringe.
You pull out that 12 gauge needle and syringe, man, you'll scare the toughest guy in the world. Those are large bore syringes.
That must hurt.
Only if you think about it.
Hi, Scribe, right?
Hey, Scribe is here. What's up, buddy?
Second butthole.
It's called second butthole. Well, you got an extra piss hole in the front and extra butthole in the back.
Yeah. Wow.
There it is. At least I can quiet you down so my face. Okay, sir, I was just leaving. I like the fact that they put that in there, that he called her sir.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's always weird to me.
In the military, they had that a lot. Females, officers, Navy. I've seen it done in the Navy. I've seen it done in the Army.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't changed. I think it may have been changed while right before I went in, because we referred to our female lieutenants as ma'am.
Yeah, we always said ma'am. I had a female lieutenant in my unit on Fort Hood. Yep.
Well, you have
ours was Lieutenant Bose. She was awesome. She was a really good. She's one I told you about, and that's the end. And you get this great ghost image of the guys he served with that got killed.
That's awesome. Yeah, I like that. Mm-hmm.
His friends.
I've
So
always
the film is fact based, but it's not accurate. It plays loosey goosey with a lot of stuff, and I bet you that was probably frustrating for him. But that's what happens when you're working on a major film. That'll happen.
I'm pretty sure it was frustrating to him.
What are you talking about, Ariel?
Jesus Christ.
She's probably talking about the flags and the formation there.
There you've got company, unit, Army, all of them. Your guidons are carrying all sorts of flags. For our platoons, we had 2 guidons, one with the Army flag and one carrying the our platoon's flag.
Mm-hmm.
And Cam comes in the house.
Now, that's normal for Cam to show up at the end of the show.
Yeah,
Of course.
always late. By the way, Martine, I have my parrot cat on my shoulder again. He just jumped up there, scaring the shit out of me. He keeps doing that.
I like that paracat.
Yeah, he's perched on the shoulder like a fucking parrot.
Now that he discovered that, he will always do it.
He's getting his energy back. So, because he's able to, he's doing it.
And this, of course, is the VA medical center where he was at.
No, the medical center with his name.
The Audie Murphy. That's good. His actual grave. And there he is, all of his, And it's one of the cool things. My grandfather never got wounded in combat. He was in a lot of combat. But he did get one of the same awards. He got the Croix de Guerre.
What's it for?
My grandfather? For fighting in France and defending France against Germany.
Cool. Very cool.
He was there from Bellawood all the way to Armistice.
I wish.
Are you talking about Tiger tanks?
Didn't they use the same tanks? I don't know. It's been a while. I'll add. Actually, hold on. No, it's not in there. I'll add Battle of the Bulge to it because it's a good film.
Yep.
And the Park is Mine.
My grandfather fought in that one.
Nice.
Yep, me too.
What they say in the military is you fight with the army you got. With Hollywood, you fight with the equipment you got.
Yeah.
And
right.
there is Trey, the guy who is he's a character in the show, SEAL Team. But he's also the senior military or technical advisor for the show. And he did an interview with Sean Ryan where he was talking about how he had to beg, borrow, and steal to get equipment for the show because the producers didn't give two shits how accurate it was.
That sucks.
Don't care. They're not going to give you any extra money. So he had to beg, borrow, and steal from friends that were in the service. So when you see SEAL teams early on in particular, a lot of the equipment you see them carrying was lent to them from actual members of the teams.
Wow.
And from Army Ranger teams that he was friends with. No shit.
That's
Go
cool.
see his interview on Sean Ryan. It's a very good interview. I like that dude. I still laugh at it, though, that the technical advisor for a SEAL team show is an Army Ranger.
Right.
Ironic about that. Wait, put that back. I want to read that last one. I got to wear the Croix de Guerre while I was in the 15th Infantry Regiment. It was not a permanent award for me, though. Okay.
Yeah.
I can't even remember the name of the award we got. It had the Saudi palm tree on it for being part of the first Gulf War.
Desert Storm? Yeah.
Desert Storm.
Yeah. Desert Shield.
Tanks, and I won't wear it because I wasn't deployed during the ground war. So I'm like, you were activated. I'm like, doesn't matter to me. Right under the tomb of the unknown soldier.
Well, that's
right
the continuation for this one.
Yeah. Yes, Lee Marvin. I've seen his grave too. It broke my heart when he died. He was. I really idolized that guy. One of my favorite stories with Lee Marvin was he was with. I just forgot his name. The director that worked with him a lot did Excalibur. What is that guy's name? Borman. What's his first name?
John
Borman.
Yeah.
John Borman. Excellent. He was at the LAX and waiting for their flight, and so he was chilled, just sitting there with his legs crossed in a chair, slumped over with his head down, kind of taking a nap at the airport. And this full-bird colonel comes walking up with his attaché, and he doesn't want to speak directly to him, so he sends his adjutant over to speak to him. And as he's speaking to him, he says the colonel's a big fan of yours, would like to meet you. And when he walked up to him, he grabbed the hat from under his arm, his dress hat, from away from this full-bird colonel. Grabs his hat, and it's got the egg yolk on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he grabs it and he just puts it in his mouth. He starts going, arr, 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 arr. doesn't respond to the guy and just does it. And it freaks the officer out, and he turns and walks away, leaving his hat with him. And then like 20 minutes later, the young adjutant walks back up to him. He says, "Sir, the lieutenant colonel is too embarrassed to ask you, but could you please give him his hat back?" And when he walked up to him, he was sitting there, and he put the hat over his head and had his head down, was napping with the hat on.
Oh my God.
And it's just such a funny story, but that must have really freaked that guy out.
Come on.
Do that
yeah, big fan, and all of a sudden he just throws you off like that. Yeah.
A sergeant once wrote that a memory he had before they left. They're out in there, just living in their shelter house, you know. And he said Lee Marvin was a grunt, typical grunt, young guy. Mm-hmm. And he says, the memory I have of him is seeing him out there right before we had to ship out with his damn bayonet, or combat knife. It was a combat knife, throwing it at a small tree, practicing throwing his knife. And he says it's a memory he had of him. Lee Marvin was just a badass. He really was. Yeah. And he got shot in the ass. He was at Taipan, and his entire squad was wiped out. He was the only survivor. And when they were taking him off, he was bleeding, and he was begging the medics to leave him so he could die with his friends. And he suffered greatly with survivor's guilt. And if you read his biography, you find out just how bad it was. It's what led to his drinking.
Yeah, I was fixing to say he was a well-known alcoholic.
Horrible alcoholic.
Which got him an
This
Academy
is so common with guys with severe PTSD.
Yeah, which got him an Academy Award. My favorite movie he was ever in, Cat Ballou. Yeah,
Cat Ballou, him and that damn horse.
Yep.
He goes, I owe half this award to that damn horse when he got the award. Because they trained that horse in one day. Horses don't do that. Don't cross their legs naturally.
Yeah.
They taught that horse how to do that in one afternoon.
That's the building when it's late.
And shot the scene.
Too damn funny, man. Damn. That movie's a riot. I love it.
Yeah, it is. It's a musical comedy Western.
Yes.
And his first attempt at it, or because I think it came out first, was Paint Your Wagon.
Yeah, Paint Your Wagon.
And it flopped. Mm-hmm. But then they do that one, and it just went over like gangbusters.
I'd have to check and see which one come out first. Because Cat Ballou's an old
If
movie.
only we had some sort of way of looking shit up.
Do that, yes.
Wait, we have 2 minutes.
Oh, no.
Paint Your Wagon was 1969.
Okay. Cat Ballou?
And yeah, Cat Ballou was first.
Yep.
So the first time it worked, the second time it failed. Clint Eastwood loves music. He is a pianist. A lot of people don't know
He is. Yes, boys and girls. Clint Eastwood was in a musical with Lee Marvin. Yes, he was.
I want to sing. I want to thank all our friends for being here today. Lord Thoth, D. Bud Martin, Tim, Real Wade Nation Gaming, Dragon Ruse, Six, Jim Watari, Andy Morrow, Penny, Just Another Red Shirt, be seeing you, Alex Moore, Mr. CCDV, Glenn Fleming, Shinatsky, Deleted Scenes, Monkey Jibas, thank you, come again, Ariel Bullet, thank you for joining us today. It was really nice having you. Scribe Light, Cam's Crash Courses, and that is it. We are done. The show is finished.
Thank you for beginning your week with us.
Yeah, yay, Monday.
Have a safe Independence Day.
There's a repeat tomorrow of the Chief Show. Have a safe and happy 4th of July tomorrow, people. Do not drink and drive. Please just be safe.
That's
I appreciate it. Yeah. It's
don't
much
drink and do
appreciated
fireworks.
if you don't die. Thanks a lot, guys. Be safe.
Bye.
Those sons of bitches.
Ma, I'm doing a show.